Happy New Year's 2026. Hope you liked the last video. I thought it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing it. Hope you've enjoyed all the videos put out over the last year. I've not taken a break since Labor Day of 2024. You can look at the number of videos I put up. I want to talk with you. I'm going to be sincere and frank, some good, some bad, and lay it on the line for you. This is me, who I am, that kind of thing. And hopes, plans, and dreams for this new year, but also potential pitfalls, dangers, shortcomings. That's the thing about any small business, any small channel. It's always teetering on the edge. So this is a bit of a call out for support, acknowledgement. Sure, donations are very much necessary, but even if you can't, because of how the economy is, also just talking about liking, sharing, subscribing to videos, and commenting, because YouTube. And nowadays, it's not just big polished channels that little ones have to compete with, but it's all the AI generated, I think the term they like to use now is slop. Sounds good to me because it is slop. So I'm just going to take you through my life and my day. Get to know who I am. Be low-key video. Probably no gunshots because you might be hungover today on New Year's. So we'll keep it low, chill, a little ASMR maybe. Get into it. This video will be kind of a clip show and various musings this last week. Really just the last few days. The end of 2025. Here at sunset. Here in the mountains, it gets dark pretty early this time of year as the sun goes behind. I like it out here though. A lot of the traffic is gone for a couple of months. In the spring, of course, you get camping and canoeing, and that continues through the summer. The fall, of course, still a lot of folks doing that. And then you get hunting season. But after Christmas and New Year, pretty much all the hunting season is over until turkey in April. And it just becomes very quiet out here. Great time and place to really think about things. And this year has given me a lot to think about, quite frankly. The year before, I think I had a lot of internal thoughts, struggles, if you will. 2025, though, seemed to be external challenges, and not even a lot of them directly to me, but a lot to people that I care about. And so, in some ways, that affects me even more deeply. So, I'd reflect a little bit about it in this video, talk about the past, the present, and potential futures of the channel here, my shortcomings, what I'm good at, what I would like to work on and get better at, and what, frankly, no matter what, no matter how hard I hope, wish, and try, I can just never do. And you can probably guess what that would be. Again, just kind of a chill video for New Year's Day. In case any of you are suffering from overindulgence last night of any kind. Yeah, it's very nice and quiet out here. I like summertime too. All the bugs and the life going around. Peanut certainly likes it. But the woods get so quiet in the winter. It's turned cold today. Last night it was about 15 degrees. Today probably about the same. Those who know, I grew up out here. This is land I inherited after my father passed away. That was almost 5 years ago now. Time flies. And You know, me and firearms, I really enjoy them. So many aspects. I love mechanics. And of course, I like finding something that I've been looking for a while. But I am happy to report I'm not one of those people that the joy is only in the hunt. And then once I get it, I don't care. I will pick up guns that I wanted for years, and then years later pick them up and still just be giddy as hell that I have it and can't believe I got it. If I want something, I really do kind of want it, and if I don't, I don't. And I've always been that way ever since I was 3-4 years old. I want what I want, and I don't what I don't. And that is good on a personal level. It brings me a lot of joy, and I want to share that with you all. That's how this channel got started with Jay and I back in 2011 with the Sig Sauer US Sig 551A1. There just weren't any videos out there on it, and we really enjoyed shooting it, so we thought we'll do our own. And that's kind of the gap I've tried to do, and I guess I was lucky. There weren't a ton of in-depth AK videos back then, or foreign imports. Of course, over the years, it's grown. Unfortunately, over the years, too, there aren't that many more options. There are newer guns coming out. You better believe we'll do a lot with the FB Ratum, the MSBS Grot when it's here. Absolutely. That's probably the most excited I've been in quite a while. Going back, the Hellion name VHS2 has been a lot of fun. But I'm also not going to do videos on things like Riley Defense or Palmetto State. They don't interest me, and I don't know what I could tell you that others can't do better. Those videos are, you can do burn down tests, torture tests. I don't have the money for that kind of ammo, and I don't like beating up guns just for the heck of it. I, again, just don't have the money or the desire, frankly. I'm in it for the history, the mechanics. The best I can tell you with those kinds of guns is does it work or does it not work? And we have done that before. We've covered Palmetto State. Remember the AK-74? Look how well that turned out. Unfortunately, with a lot of those kind of videos, people want confirmation bias, and if you tell them what they're not wanting to hear, yeah, it doesn't work out well. Now, something like Rally Defense, I just don't know what I would do, guys. I've got nothing new to add there. I can talk about my Romanian SAR-2 all day long. I can talk about the military history of the PA-86. I can talk about the import history of the SAR series leading into the Wasser series. There's meat there on that bone. Plus, I've owned that gun so long, I can tell you I've shot thousands upon thousands of rounds through it, and it works. Going out, putting a couple hundred rounds through a new gun, I don't know. Now, something like a SAR or Wasser, I can put a couple of hundred rounds through it and go, yeah, I'm going to trust this because I know the factory has made military spec trunnions and bolts for decades. But a U.S. maker, what I'm afraid of with a lot of these is they'll hold up well for the first few years, first few hundred, couple of thousand rounds. But how are they going to be holding up 5, 10, 20 years from now? And there's no real way to replicate time. Even a 5,000 round torture test, if a gun makes it through that, people will just say, well, yeah, it'll fail on the 6,000th round. And frankly, those were at least semi-practical to do when ammo was 10, 20 cents in bulk. But nowadays, unless you just have a company just giving you the ammo, which was 760 by 39, I don't know who that would be. If you go out to buy it, cheapest you're going to get is maybe 3 shots per $1. And if you can afford $2,000 in ammo costs for a range day, cool. I can't. Even if I could, that would literally just seem like burning money. I mean, frankly, I would rather donate that to my local animal shelter or something. I don't know. You know, there's that economic conscientious part. So I do historical videos, and yeah, absolutely happy to shoot. In fact, the reason I inherited this place was so I would always have a place to shoot. And that worked out well. That was very forward-thinking of my family, frankly. And it's given me a lot of peace, frankly. On a similar vein, I know I make long videos. Overly long. Trust me, you watch them. I record them, edit them, process them, export them, upload them. So I see the time. I have many times set out to make a 10-15 minute video, the Croatian HS2000, a good example, and it just explodes. What do I do with that? Could I shave it down to 15 minutes? I could. But then what would I have in the video? I will never be able to do a flashy, snazzy video with special effects. Obviously, I can't make special effects. And even if I have someone make them for me, I can't okay them. You know, what's the point? And I talk the speed I talk because this is going to be a shocking thing to admit in 2025. I actually consider the words that are about to come out of my mouth before I let them out. I don't just word vomit. That's not to say I don't get things wrong, but I do think about things before I say it. And of course, I'm not reading off a script. I'm not using a prompter of any kind or a bug in my ear to read to. No, this is just top of my head. And you know how it is when you're just talking. It's how it goes. And some days you've got energy. Some days you're tired. If you listen to my videos now, I've went back to listen to my old ones, there are far fewer pauses, far less dead air, and I actually do speak faster now. So I've done what I can to up stuff. So I look at my videos, when they are long, what could I cut out? In that XD video, the HS2000 video, should I cut out the disassembly? That seemed interesting because we were looking at the parts. Should I cut out the magazine test? I thought that was kind of fun. A little quirky, little side note, swapping parts around, but I thought it was fun. You wouldn't want me to cut out the shooting parts, I'm sure, for whatever that's worth. And the history, I minimized it. Really, the first, history is only maybe 10 minutes of the video. It just all adds up. At the end of the day, I have to make peace with it. Either people are on board for a long video or they're not. I've tried making shorts, and I have kind of found a certain area there with them where, like, making announcements or showing bloopers. But to me, I can't dig into the meat of a subject in 2 or 3 minutes. And that's what I like about guns. I'm a deep diver. That's who I am. Get interested in things and dive into them. If something interests me, it interests me. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I choose to do videos on guns that interest me, and I get excited. I love learning little new pieces of data. And then when I go to make the video, am I going to edit that out after I spent the time learning it or whatever? Why? I want to make a video that's unique. This is who I am. If I make short videos, I'm just aping so many others out there. So I completely understand if that's not certain folks' style. To be honest with you, the short, flashy videos that are out there, they're not my style. To me, they're a nothing burger. Most of them, anyway. They don't tell you anything more than what a press release from the company would, or just a 5-minute shooting little thing. There's no interesting personal anecdotes or deep lore. They don't hold anything for me. Plus, personally, the way I watch YouTube, I like to be able to put on a video, really dig into it, really get into it, go do dishes, go clean the cat box, go pack boxes to ship, which I still need to do as I do this. I like just to be able to put something on and reliably listen to it and not worry. That's for me. I know a lot of folks will be on long drives, and there's them. I'm making peace with just, this is what I do. These are the videos I can be personally proud of. That's, again, not to say I don't make errors. I know I do, but I try to correct them and I try to do better. So I don't foresee me making short videos going forward. It's not who I am. It's not me doing the best I can. And even if I can't give you great special effects, even if I can't give you substantial accuracy reports, I mean, Henry at 9 Holes, the guy for that, I can give you what I know. I can really tell you the history, the background, point out some mechanical quirks and changes. That's what I'm into it for. Not to mention personal story times. If you're into that too, on a very amateur, informal level, this is the place for you. But if you want something commercial, snazzy, looks like it could be on TV, I'm sorry, that's not who and what I am. And to be fair, when I started on YouTube, that wasn't what YouTube was either. It's changed. The world has moved on. And I can't move with it on a lot of areas. And that does bum me out some. I think if I could see, I would really enjoy photography and by extension videography. Because I have ideas in my head, but I have no way to convey them to you. You know, funny little gags and things that I would love to do. That said, one thing that drives me crazy with a lot of YouTubers is when they try to be actors and do little skits. Now, sometimes it can be fun, but oh my God, it goes way beyond. Also, you'll notice there's no, I'm not promoting Factor or Oralite or anything like that on here. I don't want to have a paid sponsorship. That would make it not as fun and not as genuine. I want videos to be like you're just hanging out with someone who also loves guns at the range, not someone who's trying to sell you something. Hell, if I've got a gun that's going up on Gunbroker, I will usually wait to put up the video on it until the gun actually sells. That to me seems intellectually honest. That way this is not a advertising channel. I don't know. I'm probably crazy for that thought. It also means that I really do need the support on Patreon or Super Thanks on here, or at least a like, a share, a subscribe. Again, I understand why the big channels with teams are more impressive to look at. However, good God, now how about the AI channels? There was a comment on a video of mine today, and I clicked on the user because the name looked slightly familiar, and it was a freaking AI channel. We've got to do something about those. I can completely accept other people preferring live human channels over mine. But what I can't accept is you wanting a freaking AI robot more. Please don't support that crap. It was bad enough when they used an AI voice, but at least the words were human generated. But now it's AI all the way, and it's flooding YouTube, and not just in GunTube world, but we've got to do something about that. That's got to be something and that's something that we have to correct as viewers, not something YouTube's going to correct. Otherwise, it's going to be a desolate hellscape very, very soon. My feet were getting cold, and I'm sure it was getting dark out, so heading in. It was a nice day today. Okay. Most of you know and believe this, and I know it's just the internet being an internet. Keep in mind, I was online in the 90s. I remember 4chan, and if anything, trolls kind of amused me. But yes, I'm blind. Not, legally blind, but virtually 100% blind. And then, of course, the questions come, how can you do this? How can you do that? The weirdest one I've had was actually on a date with a girl when I was in college, asking me how I could trim my fingernails. And my thought was, why do you need eyesight to trim fingernails? Fingernail trimmers are kind of self-explanatory, and I don't think they require vision, do they? Anyway, I've had some interesting... I remember one time we were at a bar, and a guy said, yo, you're blind, blah, blah, blah. You must really like Stevie Wonder. Okay? I mean, I get what he was going for. For what it's worth, I'm more of a Ray Charles fan. But the internet being the internet, there's always that doubt if someone's being truthful. And once in a while, I think some people think they've caught me out on something. Well, they haven't, because it's the truth. So it also relates to me wearing glasses. That's another one that's been going on for years. About people get mortally offended about me wearing sunglasses, thinking it's some kind of thing. No, it's just kind of what we do. But with that, if you don't want to see glasses, if you want to see, here we go. Here are my eyes without glasses. Typically they remain closed. That's just how they go. But if you really want to see the grossness that is my eyeball, there you go. Now, does anyone really want to see that in a video? It's just something that's more comfortable for all of us, and it looks better, frankly. And of course, out shooting, it's good to have glasses regardless. Even if I don't have working eyes, no one wants crap going into their gelatinous blobs on their face, right? So, there. And if you're just wondering my exact vision, I have no real sight to speak of. I have light perception in one eye. Basically, I can tell if it's, strictly speaking, daytime or nighttime, and that's it. There's no real definition, no real shadows, certainly no faces, no details, no way for me to see guns. There you go. So, you either believe or you don't. But glasses just seem a more dignified way of doing it. And for those that still think it's kind of fuck you. But with that said, with that out of the way, yeah, let's talk about just my hard limitations that I've effectively hit here on YouTube, and how it's going to just, by its nature, limit the reach and effectiveness of this channel. By its very nature, this website's always been visual. And with the rise in shorts, TikTok, and here on YouTube, it has become much more of a visual language. The whole picture's worth 1,000 words. Words are all I have. That's why shorts will never be much for me. That doesn't bug me so much because shorts also don't pay any money, and yet they require so much time to edit. So it doesn't bother me because it's not something I really enjoy doing. It's not really worth anything. It seems to be very empty content. Now, I've seen some that do like jokes. If they're a comedy channel or whatever, yeah, 2-3 minutes is great to tell a good joke. Absolutely. And a fun little clip you can absolutely do. But I can't tell you the history of a gun in that time at all. I can't even really give you much of a story time. So that doesn't bother me. I do wish I could do thumbnails for you. But the only thing I could maybe do is have AI do it. And, well, we know how that turns out. So I don't think that's a good option. I've asked for a couple of years if anyone would want to help me do thumbnails, and it's just not. It's not as easy to get help as you might think. And that's not because people are bad or mean. People are busy. In this day and time, people are exceedingly busy with everything going on in life. A joke that I've made for years, and it's a little off color, but screw it. There is this attitude. People will email me photos or things, and they'll go, well, I thought your wife or your cousin or your friend could read it to you. They don't have time for that. People often act like we have government-issued gimps that just live in the closet that we can just, they will come out and will do stuff for us or drive us places. No. The government is effectively useless, at least for me. I do not get a dime of disability. I pay for my health care same as you do. I don't qualify for any benefits, any special dispensation And people have even tried to argue with me. Oh, no, that must be wrong, you know. No, it's not. Don't you think I've looked? I mean, while I wouldn't want disability payments, I wouldn't mind, like, an expense account to put rides on. That does kind of, you know, if I want to go anywhere, I need to pay people. And even if they didn't want payment, I would still want to give them something for their time and gas. It would be nice if there was some kind of compensation for that. Now, to be fair, there are a couple of states, Missouri comes to mind, that do give a bit of a living stipend if you have certain disabilities, blindness included, because in their words, they recognize that it is expensive. Imagine if everywhere you went, it cost you money on top of everything else. Of course, the flip side to that is I don't have a car, so I don't have to have that expenses, but probably overall, it doesn't shake out. But yeah, the YouTube environment started off as basically home videos, and then got a little more polished. And looking at my original videos when Jay and I did them, I do think they're better. The sound's better. I have a lot more intent going into it. But good grief, some of the channels now, it's Hollywood levels of production, and that's awesome for those that can do it. I also notice those channels have an entire team. You've got the persons or person in front of the camera, but then you have script writers, maybe even people doing makeup. You've got people that do the back end editing, publishing, and then you have moderators that do the chats and all that stuff. It's a whole team production thing. And just thinking about that literally makes me feel exhausted. That's not what I signed up for. I did not sign up to manage a full business like that. Then it's out of your hands. And quite frankly, I'm not someone's first choice to do that kind of stuff anyway. So why even worry about it? It's not a good fit all around. I just want to make videos for you guys and talk about something that I feel passionate about, guns. To that end, it's all me. I, of course, research the guns, buy the guns, or they're out of my collection, record the videos. I'm here alone, well, except for the cats. Upload them to the computer. I do my best to edit. I can trim, like put timestamps in, and that actually took me quite a while to find a program that was accessible to my text-to-speech TTS program. A lot of your video editing software is, visual. I needed one that was more text-based. So I can do that. And that did help a lot, being able to trim stuff out. It absolutely did. And on top of that, another thing that I picked up is a little remote for the GoPro. And that means that I can just click it to stop and restart a video. And that means I don't have to edit the front and the back out, because it does take me a lot of time using a screen reader to do that stuff. But that's actually saved. It's such a small little thing. Speaking of GoPro, one reason I do use a GoPro is it has a lot of sound tones, on, off, record, unrecord. Each of them has their own little beep things. Back when we used J-Ro's camera, it didn't make any beeps and stuff, and it threw me off. Here, recording, if it runs out of space on the memory card or battery, it'll beep, and I know we're no longer recording. Now, I wish it also did that for sound. Sound is always one of the things that can catch you up. It doesn't tell you, like, if the batteries die on the boom mic or the wireless mic. Oh, well, it's just one of those risks you have to run. But it's all me. And, of course, uploading to YouTube and sometimes arguing with YouTube to get a video up or monetized or whatever. And, of course, there's the whole thing there that everyone else has to deal with. My life, my channel. I'm not wanting sympathy. Screw that. I don't want that. That makes me very uncomfortable and it's useless. But understanding and just respect, I'll take that. Because I have all the same challenges and difficulties that anyone else on this channel does, with far less abilities. That's literally what disability means. I do not have the abilities you do, and it does matter. So I do apologize for my shortcomings, but I hit a wall. There's some things I can teach myself to do, but there's other things, no matter how much I try, I just cannot. And I have to accept that. And that limits the channel. It really does. And that's hard to accept. I'm one of those people that wants to grow and do better. I'm an ambitious person. You might have noticed. But I'm afraid I've kind of hit the limit of my abilities. And then bringing other people on board, that's a whole different ball game with its own challenges, limitations, and pitfalls. One thing I really want to point out and stress is YouTube was always meant to be for fun. My day job, well, I'm an FFL dealer, and I'm keeping this video gun-free, but I do need to wrap up some items and get them in the mail tomorrow. I record this for right after Christmas, and of course I do this myself too. Peanuts guarding the packages, aren't you? Working hard. Meanwhile, Callie has been doing this ever since we had company earlier. She wore herself out showing off for them. Well, don't let me disturb you. Well, a little bit later, finished boxing up some items and a couple of guns to go out in the mail. Cook some dinner and letting it cool. So thought I'd pop back in with you. Less about the channel, more about me and the cabin. Those who followed for a while know that we built it. It was supposed to be in 2023, but the original person who was going to do it ended up flaking. I know, unreliable contractor. Yeah. But I ended up meeting someone at the end of 2023, and that person actually worked out. Started the work late that year. Did some videos from out here. At that point, really was just foundation. 2024 was the real work, despite weather and stuff. We were pretty much done by September, October. So 2025, this first year I've just been able to enjoy it. There's still little things I'd like to do, and we have kind of an area out here that we'd like to do another add-on room for. But, you know, money and time. What can you do? It's very nice out here at night. Then again, I've always been a night person. Just how I am. I'll set you on the rail for just a minute. This won't be long. It's quite cool out, but I needed some fresh air. You ever know that? And I think one thing that helped me with the cabin, not just being able to shoot guns more frequently and when I want, just walk outside and test fire something, it really was, I think part of me felt like I was slipping. I lived alone in college, took care of myself, cooked and cleaned. Of course, people helped me. I don't want to minimize that. But, you know, in the day-to-day life, I didn't have a roommate. I didn't live with family. But I've been married for 15 years, and I was kind of wondering if I lost that edge, you know? If I could still take care of myself alone. Maybe that sounds funny, but being out here, it does restore some confidence to know that, yeah, I can make it on my own. Again, I don't want to minimize my wife and other people do helping me either go get groceries or bringing me groceries. Obviously, that's something that I can't do. But at the same time, I do most of what you see on the channel out here alone. And I can do some stuff in town, but there's a far more distractions and what have you. Out here, I can just really zero in, focus in on something, and just, me and the cats. Speaking of, don't know if you can see her through the screen, but hi, Miss Peanut. In warmer weather, she can kind of sit here and hear me outside, and I can hear her. She used to meow when she wanted me to come in. She's, of course, a rescue. My wife and I, and actually a couple of really good friends, all do rescue dogs and cats. And we take the ones that most people don't want. My wife has a deaf cat that had been in the shelter for a while. I took Peanut. She'd been there a while. No one wanted a tripod. And you know what? That's their loss. She is one of the most loyal and loving and needy, in a good way, cats I've ever had. She really is. And it's nice to have companionship out here. I knew when I was building it that I was going to have to bring her out here, because when I left her to come down to check on stuff and stay with my mother for a few days, she would mope back at home. So as soon as we had running water and it was safe for her to come out here, she came out September, I believe it was that Labor Day, and comes out with me every time since. And of course, recently we've added Calypso, Callie, to the family. I found her freezing out on the porch the first cold night we had in November. It was down to about 20 degrees, and she was a little ball of fluff and nothing. And I found her fighting with 2 or 3 other grown adult cats. A 6-week-old cat willing to scrap with 6-month-old, year-old cats. I knew she was for me. She had that spirit. And she's also equally as loving. Now, her and Peanut, yeah, Peanut's still adapting to having to share the cabin and share me, but we'll get there. I guess you could call this selfie mode. Not really my deal, but yeah, this is a small channel still, kind of old school YouTube. I want to touch upon, again, new and different guns. There just have not been that many things to talk about new. And on top of that, I'm not big enough, important enough for most of the makers to send me T&E guns. And frankly, that's kind of how I want it. This really should be a passion project. I have thought, and over the years, I mean, I've done it 15 years coming up very soon. Obviously, there have been times I've considered closing the channel down. I don't keep it going because I make money at it. Heck, sometimes, as much as I appreciate the support on Patreon and the super thanks on here, that basically just covers getting to and from the cabin, ammunition, other expenses. You know, my ear pro died this year. Yeah, it's not really a money maker, and that's okay. It really is. But my thought is really twofold. One, I sincerely enjoy making videos for you, for myself. I like having something new or digging something out of the collection we haven't had out in the while. I like researching, kind of getting my notes together. I don't do scripts, but I do get notes, production years and numbers, see if there's any new data on a gun, if it's been out for a while, it's been a couple of years. I love that process. On top of that, I like recording. I like sharing with friends. And when I post a video, I eagerly await to see what you guys think. For example, that Yugoslavian Zastava M76, that 8mm. Been meaning to give a shooting review of that for you guys for years. Finally did it. So I was really eager to get your feedback and see what you thought. That's what I'd miss, that purpose. When I got a video in my head, it gets me so excited. Sometimes I can't sleep. Sometimes I'll pop out of bed early and just like, I'm going to do this today. That's the part I would miss. And sharing it with you guys and those of you that support. I don't need a lot of feedback. I don't need to be big. In fact, I don't want to be big. I don't think I could manage it. Again, just me here. A channel these days is difficult for any person to manage, not to mention someone in my position. If it was larger, I would have to get other people on board to do moderation and stuff. I don't know. I guess I just want it to be traditional. As I said at the beginning, the world has moved on, and I get that. And that is a problem for me because I don't do Twitter. I don't do, or X, I guess it is now, Instagram. I don't even have Facebook, never have. I'm just not into that stuff. Doing it would be very, very time-consuming for me, very stressful. And I just don't see the point. But I also understand that kind of limits the reach of the channel. That's how people publicize now. People don't search Google anymore. They go to the same websites and they have a feed and they take what they get on the feed. It's rare that people go to the YouTube search. And I think that's a shame. Because sometimes I just get interested in something. It might be the B-17 bomber today. Or, the history of non-bread. Or whatever else. Or a Star Trek show or whatever. And I still will do the search. Now, don't get me wrong, I still have the feed too. But, I don't know. I'm curious about the world around me. I hope that never changes. I love learning. I miss being a teacher. But doing YouTube and talking with folks, researching, that fills that niche in my life, I suppose. So I'm having to come to terms with my limitations and where things may stop, but I don't want things to end or reverse. I really do need to get more Patreons or something else, an alternative. Seems like every couple of years there's a new kicking shell casings. There's a new fancy thing. I remember when Patreon was kind of the ad hoc thing. Here's the thing. Eventually, they all get corporatized. And as much as we all kind of like to blame YouTube for demonetization or removing videos, I've shared earlier about some old videos getting pulled down. The truth is, they wouldn't do that if the advertisers, the people that pay to have their ads run, didn't require it half the time. And this is going to be an unpopular take, but freedom and capitalism cut both ways. They have a right to determine where their money is spent, and YouTube has a right to determine what's on their website. It is not public domain. It is not a government service. Amendments and Second Amendment rights and constitutional rights do not apply to private entities. When I had a guide dog, I've had 2 of them in my life. I used them from the late 90s until my last one passed away at the end of 2014. So, a little over 15, 16 years working with them. Most public places we had rights to go to. Restaurants, Walmarts, hospitals, within, reasons. One area we couldn't have a right to go to that was granted as a privilege, churches, believe it or not, because they were considered private. And the same thing goes to homes. people had a right to refuse someone with a service animal entry into their house. YouTube is much the same way. They have the right to not let whatever content they want or don't want on their site. Where I actually fault them is their communication. They are obtuse and vague, and that's where they could correct. If they would just talk with us and say, hey, we don't want you doing this, at least it would be clear. But instead, they leave it vague intentionally, is a further discouragement. That said, if you look at the number of hours of video that are uploaded to YouTube every day, it is crazy. It is a victim of its own success, like many other things. So that's part of it as well. Heck, when I signed up on here and we started doing videos, Jay and I, there wasn't even monetization. The partner program didn't come along till years later. It really was just, I mean, back then we were thrilled. There was a website that didn't charge us to post videos. And people often say, well, what about this website or that? A lot of them actually charge you to post videos, at least over a certain size or number of videos. Others will let you post for free, but there's no revenue program, at least not of note. My point is, as annoying as it can be sometimes, Facebook and YouTube are the places that get the most everything. And I'm not doing Facebook, and they're even more severe on firearms than YouTube, as is TikTok. And, well, X is better, but that's, who knows what X will or won't be. It's just the reality. Freedom cuts both ways, as much as we may not like that fact. As nice as it is out on the porch, getting a little chilly, so I think we'll head in again, and by now my food will be cool, and I'm sure the cats need me. I do save a lot of money by not having to run lights all the time when it's just me here. Only put the lights on the porch. This is your benefit, not mine. My Peanut. And you're a cat. You can see in the dark, so you don't need them either, do you? Exactly. Next day, and the last day, as I record this, of the year. Another clear and cold one, and God, this is the kind of weather I find beautiful. Finally, a nice afternoon to sit out here. I had to clean some pine sap that had dripped on the swing off. That's always fun. But it's warmed up. It's about 20 degrees warmer than it was, mid-40s now. Last day, last afternoon, and probably the last recording I will make for 2025. I don't know. I just thought kind of a day in the life, just hanging out, got my packages shipped. That's still my day job, of course, being an FFL. It wasn't my intention. I went to school more or less to be a teacher. But yeah, things change, life changes. No scandals or anything like that. Nothing so dramatic, unfortunately. Just, this is the hand that life has dealt me, and I'm at peace with it. I really am. I'd rather be me than anyone else. Highs and lows, as it were. So, that's why I said earlier, I don't want sympathy, I don't want pity, God, no. But understanding, that's good. Respect for sometimes how difficult or how much extra life can be, not just for me, but anyone with a disability. That I'll accept, because it is, trying to arrange rides, trying to get someone to come by to help me take pictures. It just, even though I've learned how to print labels for my packages, I still need someone to verify, because for all I know, the printer spits out a blank white sheet of paper. So there's just things like that. Again, I hit a hard wall. And that's been everything in my life. I've had lots of hobbies and interests, and I can go pretty far into them But then eventually I hit that wall where you have to have a visual element. And I'm afraid that's kind of where I'm at, both with the day job, FFL, and the YouTube. And that's what I've been dealing with this year, is just coming to peace with that. That said, any support that can be given will be appreciated. I mean, already now, people on Patreon, people on YouTube that do super thanks, or heck, even like, share, and subscribe, do more than the government. Because less than helpful. I know, shocker, huh? The federal or even state government, less than helpful. It is irksome on that level, because you look around and you see a lot of folks out there on full disability. And while I'm sure they have their challenges, everyone does, they can at least get up, drive to work, or whatever. So that's a whole other kettle of fish that no reason to get into, and can't say it riles me up, but I do have thoughts. But that's not what I have, and so that's why I do my day job. That's why I do this channel here, because I have to have something to do. I can't just lounge around. Even if I did have a disability check, I have to have a reason to get up. Like, I have to have a purpose. I would make a terrible couch potato. I can't just lounge around all day. I have to have a goal in life. And so the YouTube channel gives me that, and you guys watching and commenting helps a lot as well. With that, how you feeling this New Year's? How many of you actually imbibed last night? How many didn't? Just to cycle back around, again, there aren't a lot of new guns. People like me to do AK topics, but then at the same time, they'll kind of say, well, we've seen that before. I understand. There's just not much new under the sun. I had hopes for Kalashnikov USA bringing out replicas of other Russian models, and that's not 100% dead, but, you know, it's not likely. We will see. A lot of the other clones and stuff disappoint me. The PSA AK-103, it's not. It just doesn't do it for me. I like authentic things. And I'm not going to, of course, get into accessories and stuff. That's what a lot of channels do, is they review lights, lasers, optics. Let you guess why I can't do that. So that does limit me there, too. Anything I tried to do there would just be stupid. It would be posing. I think that's the thing. Hey, I'm Gen X. That's the worst thing you can be, is a poser. Also a conformist. So I don't think I'm either of those things. I might be many, many other things, but not that. While I like ARs, I really do. I'm into the more historical ones, the reproduction ones, or the originals. And I do like modern-day replicas of service guns, like the Mark 18, the Mark 12. I'm not going to get into the commercial AR side. It just doesn't interest me. For that, you've got Chris Bartacci and others. I am very happy talking with him. That kind of stuff, a new rail, a new safety, excites the hell out of him. That is cool. I can be happy for him, seeing that he's happy. It just doesn't do it for me. Now, I do love FALs, and for a minute there, DS Arms was kind of coming back a year or two ago. They've been really quiet this year. I'm not sure. I was excited for that T-48, but then, of course, when they said they were partnering with essentially PSA through their whole Harrington Richards thing, that gave me pause. Anytime you get a partnership, it can be pretty chancy, because you're taking a lot of control and a lot of marketing out of your hands. But any FALs coming out, I'd love to talk about it. Any kind of parts guns. Unfortunately, the gentleman who used to do a lot of my sub machine gun to semi-automatic conversions, he got cancer, and then the second person I found that did those AR-70 90s, he suddenly passed away through a heart attack. And another person I knew that did builds, he was an older gentleman, he's gone too. Yeah, I don't have a builder anymore. I'm sure I'll find someone eventually. But for now, yeah. And that's one reason 2025 has been difficult. I've lost a lot of good friends, even some family, and family of good friends. We've lost a lot of people this year. Out of privacy, I won't mention them, but it's tough. As I said at the beginning of the video, 2024 was more of an internal thing, building the cabin, going through that financial stuff through there. 2025, that's done at least, good. But it's just, it has reminded me that life moves on. You know, I'm more than halfway through my life, even if I have a nice long life. I have gone through the spring and even the summer of my existence, and I feel like I'm at the tail end of summer, starting to cross over into autumn, if that makes sense, to make an analogy of life. And I'm okay with that. In some sense, I've always kind of been an old person, but it is hard seeing people you really care about hurt or go away, because it takes me a while to bond with someone, to really kind of get in there. I'm a very independent, solo person, but once I do get attached to someone, I become very attached. And when they're gone, when they're no longer around, I miss them deeply. One of my first childhood friends who passed away when we were much, much younger, and, you know, we're 25 years since then, and I still think about him, if not every day, quite frequently. But with that, yeah, that's me. That's what this channel is. I will keep on keeping on. Whenever anything truly new like the Grot comes out, I will do my best. In the interim, I can revisit some existing guns, pull out some things from the collection you haven't seen in a while, maybe not ever before, but I'm not going to go spend money on something just to say I made content. I can't do that, guys. If we start getting a lot of views and everything, sure, I can do that more. But with the view counts right now, and here's the thing too, people want new stuff, but then I have actually done quite a few new guns this year that have never been on the channel, but unless it's an AK, it doesn't get a lot of traction. It's like people want new, but they also want familiar and comfortable. It is a bit of a contradiction. So keep that in mind too. Sometimes people think they want the new, but then they're interested because they don't know about it. That's the problem if something's truly obscure. People don't want to search for it. But I'll keep on. I'm never going to threaten to stop the channel. But, you know, the number of videos I make is directly dependent on the amount of support given. That is just a cold, hard fact. So the more support, the more impetus, the more funds to do it, the less I might have to scale back videos. I don't know what 2026 is going to hold, but none of us do. That's life. The truth is, that scares the crap out of all of us, we do not know the future. We can plan based on right now situation, but unforeseen things happen all the time, either on a personal level or on a national level. Recent history has certainly proven that. And the best we can do is, you know, get on with it. Hang on and try to do the best we can. And that's what I do here. I absolutely do the best I can for you and for myself and for the 2A community and for life. Because, you know, I was raised to not ever use disability as a crutch. I've never wanted to be that. And I think I can at least say, if nothing else, I haven't done that. So there's that. But I'd be lying if I said life was clear, smooth, and easy. It isn't for me. I'm sure it isn't for you as well. But got to keep on keeping on. And we have to find joy in the small moments, little things sometimes. And that's what makes life worth living. Get through the rough times, they make you appreciate the good times and the good friends more. And I guess that's the message I'll start off the new year with. Is the economy still isn't great, and jobs are not secure, and prices go up, and that puts strain on families, and a lot of us don't have money for new hobbies and things. We've all got to hang on, and we've all got to support each other. Don't look to the government. Don't look to some superior authority. Look to your friends, family, neighbors. We all support each other, and we'll get through it. And I'll do my part the best I can to bring videos. And please do your part and watch them, share them with buddies, hit the little like button and all that crud. As I asked earlier in the year, if you could promote it on Facebook or X, Insta, I can't do that, so if you could share it with buddies. Used to be on forums, but I don't know that people even go on forums much anymore. That seems to be a dying medium. And I'm kind of an old person, you know, I'm kind of an old generation, and on top of just anything else, it does get harder to change and learn new things for any of us that get older. So, you know, excuse me if I can't sometimes. But I will say I will probably take a short break now because I have been making videos for essentially a year and a half. And I'm pretty tired. But I've got a lot on the burner, several already recorded, some already edited. And I've got not a new series, but we're redoing an old series with an old friend. And that'll probably be what I come back with. And I won't be gone very long. A couple of weeks maybe. But need a little downtime. Get some other affairs in order. But in the interim, I put out a lot of videos. I bet you can find something to watch that you haven't seen before. So you can use the little search button on the channel. Check it out. If you're a Patreon, feel free to send me a message on there and ask about a video topic. I'm pretty receptive. Whatever you want to hear, I can cover it again. Or cover it for the first time if I have access. Just remember, if it's something like, oh yeah, talk about the Indian census. I can't do that. I don't have one. No one does, you know. Talk about the FAMAS. Give me $30,000 and I will. You know, keep it in mind that it has to be something I could get in hand. But, you know, that side, I'll do my best as long as it's reasonable. But yeah, true gratitude to everyone. I really am. The channel, the cabin, my friends and family, everything on some level is what keeps life worth living. What keeps me up every day and going, even when I get down, you know? And you are all a part of that. But yeah, you've kind of followed me through a full day here. We're recording it now, right about the time we started the other day. With that, best New Year's wishes. Again, check out some older videos. If you can, support on Patreon. And stay tuned because should have some pretty fun videos coming middle to end of January. This is Misha, on behalf of everyone. Catch you very soon after a short rest next time. Sunset in the mountains in the Ozarks. Happy New Year's, everyone. Take care.